let's keep it at the quarterback position, and we'll stay in the division. Lamar Jackson entering a contract season. Again, I teased this at the top of the show. I heard your commentary on the -3 podcast. And if I heard you correctly, Ike, you said that you would advise Jackson to hold out and to sit out until they restructure a deal. I'm going to toss the floor over to you because I don't want to put words into your mouth. But if you're Lamar Jackson, you're advising him, he's entering the final year of his rookie deal. What would you do in the same situation?
And give me. And what I mean by give me is give me my contract, give me my money, give me my cheese, give me my feta, give me my guap, give me everything that has to describe the word money, because I deserve it. And the reason why I deserve it is because, and then I just break down everything I've done in the league. I break down I'm the most exciting. I break down that I give this team the best opportunity. I break down that I'm a former league offensive MVP. I break down, man, you can't catch this talent anywhere in the world but in Baltimore. And my name is Lamar Jackson. That's what I break down. Now, you're going to try to break down to me everything I can't do. But all I'm going to ask you to do is ask my teammates and ask my coaching staff. Now, Coach Harbaugh, I think he's playing both sides of the fence. I think he does love Lamar Jackson. I think he does think he's a special talent. But at the same time, he's still working for the Baltimore Ravens. So you got to ask Coach Harbaugh, what you want to do. And I'm sure Coach Harbaugh like, look, man, before this 2022 season come around, I need this guy on the field. So we definitely need to get this contract done. I'm hoping Coach Harbaugh says that to the front office and this organization. But if I'm Lamar, I'm not stepping 8 foot on the field. I'm sitting on these sidelines outside these white lines and waiting for my money to hit this transaction so this money can go on my bank account. That's exactly what I'm waiting for. So for Lamar, it's just he's too valuable for that organization. Now, you can say, well, they've won. And I know Shaq, when I was on this podcast, said they won with Trent Dilfer. But they had an historic defense, Mark. And right now they got a good defense, but it's not historic like the defense they had back in the day with Trent Dilfer, where you only had to score a few touchdowns in the playoffs to win the whole thing. So Lamar is just different. So now I think they have to change their game plan to Lamar. They have to groom Lamar now. So we let Lamar be Lamar a couple of years ago, and yes, he's going to get us to the playoffs. Okay, what's the next step? It's him going through his progressions. It's him going through when the playoff comes, man, what team's going to try to do? What they're going to try to do is keep him in the box. And what I mean, the box is the pocket. So who can I use other than Andrews? And now I think they have a wide. I think Bateman coming from Minnesota, wide receiver. He was hurt last year. I think he's going to have a breakout season. I think Andrews still will be a part of the huge success. And now they got their running game back. So really you got 2 running backs in Lamar and a running back. You got a tight end. You got a wide receiver. So, and you got a defense. It's just Lamar is just too valuable. So if I'm Lamar, I'm not stepping 8 foot on the field until I get this money and it hits my bank account.
From the Ravens standpoint, Ike, they're looking at this saying, wait a second, we picked up Jackson's 5th-year option on his rookie deal and we're paying him $23 million, which is substantially more money combined than Jackson made in the first 4 years of his career. Sure. However, Jackson's looking at it from the standpoint of, wait a second, Josh Allen, Pro Bowl level quarterback and elite level quarterback in the same draft class as me, just got $43 million on average through the 2028 season. So the figure is going to be somewhere between that $23 million Jackson is owed this year and the $43 million that Josh Allen is getting per year. And so that's how he's looking at it, considering former league MVP, 25 years old, 37-12 as a starter, and 84-31 touchdown to interception ratio during the regular season. Madden level quarterback, entertaining to watch, but it's the playoffs where he struggled. Correct. 1-3 as a starter in the playoffs, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But Ike, you mentioned the injuries that the Ravens had last season. They're going to get Gus Edwards back. They're going to get J.K. Dobbins back. Ronnie Stanley along the offensive line as well. So you're positioned in Jackson's final year of his rookie deal to be able to get back to where you were, because this was the team that was leading the division. Then the final 6 weeks of the regular season, Ike, they lost all 6 games. Jackson missed 4 of them. So this is not a same Ravens team without Jackson on the field. I'm with you there, but I come from the standpoint of, like, look, if we're just drafting in Madden, you can pick one quarterback, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, who you'd rather have. I'd rather have Josh Allen.
Yeah, but for Lamar Jackson's point of view, Josh still haven't won the Super Bowl. So my record is better than his as a starter. My interception touchdown ratio is better than his as a starter. Okay, he gets to the playoff, but he doesn't get to the Super Bowl. So really,
hang on though, Ike. Let me counter really quickly. I mean to interrupt you, but this is an important point. Did Josh Allen lose that playoff game, or did Coach McDermott lose that playoff game by kicking the touchback to the Chiefs and not forcing them to return with 13 seconds left?
It's still on Josh Allen's resume. So when you want to talk about quarterback, you got to talk about the head coach and the quarterback. There's only two people who are going to take the blame. It's either going to be the quarterback or the head coach. And really, nobody really never saying nothing about the head coach from this standpoint and Coach Sean McDermott. It's still on Josh Allen's resume. Now, coming from a standpoint of a stronger arm, a better passer, like really, who you can really say who has a better arm than Josh Allen in the league? Really, nobody. Now, when you want to talk about having a style of throw, you might say Patrick Mahomes might have a style of throw, but hell, Aaron Rodgers, I played against Aaron Rodgers. He's been doing them style of throws since I've been playing. And we talking about 2005. So this ain't nothing new I've seen from when it comes down to the style of throw. So Lamar Jackson, like, okay, nobody in my draft class has won a Super Bowl as a starter from the quarterback position. Now, my resume is better than a lot of these guys as a starter. And the only thing y'all can say is, which is very important, and we'll talk about the playoffs, but heck, I went deep into the playoffs. Josh Allen went deep into the playoffs. It's not my fault that he had 13 seconds left and they couldn't close the game out. But since they couldn't close the game out, that looks better for me when it comes to my argument on me getting my money.
I just wanted to point that out. And I like Sean McDermott as a head coach, but again, looking back at that game, the Bills shouldn't have lost that game to the Kansas City Chiefs, Ike. But so hang on, to put a bow on this, would you advise Jackson to hold out? Would you do almost like a soft holdout with what we saw TJ Watt do? What would you do if you were encouraging Lamar Jackson if he sought your advice?
I'm not even coming. I'm not even going to risk it. I'm not. I've did everything y'all asked me and needed me to do plus more if I'm Lamar Jackson. So hopefully I'm in the ballpark, and that's between the 38-43 range. That's all I want. Really what it boils down to, when we talk about these quarterback contracts all the time, Mark, it's my upfront money. Y'all give me my money up front, man. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do to me on the back end. I don't care. By then, I didn't build my resume. Hopefully put a Super Bowl in this organization, then we're gonna cut another check. But other than that, if I'm Lamar, I ain't even stepping foot.
We'll call that the Dak Prescott from now on, Ike.
There we go. That's that we're gonna do the Dak Prescott, the DP.
Well, and I like that too, Ike, because you mentioned that on our last show, and I'm like, what is Ike talking about? And I pull up his contract details on Spotrac, and honestly, like, you knew it like the back of your hand, to where that contract is very much front loaded, to where it becomes a little bit more team friendly, but then because the player's been paid his money up front, on the back end, it's not quite as lucrative, but then the team can get more creative with how they spend their money, which is the challenge that all teams face when they have a star quarterback. Eventually, that dinner tab is going to be due, and you're going to have to pay that player at the same time. When that quarterback's still not on his rookie deal, there's only so much you can do to upgrade the team around him. And I'll say this, and I've said this too, the moment Jackson gets his new deal with the Ravens, because to say, hey, we're going to let Lamar walk, that is not going to happen, Ike, because they could always put the franchise tag on him for the 2023 season if they want to let this play out and force him to play in the final year of his rookie deal. They're not going to just let him walk, because, again, it goes back to what we were talking about at the top of the show. The quarterback position in this league is a premium. So even if you think that Lamar Jackson struggles in the playoffs, which he has through 4 games, that narrative could change this upcoming season. But to say, hey, we're going to start all the way over and we're going to have to roll the dice, and, oh, yeah, we're going to have to start with someone who's not a proven league MVP, who's played at the highest level already in this league. Like, the Ravens and Jackson will work something out What we can hope for from the Steelers standpoint is we hope that that figure is as high as possible. I want that to be more than the $43 million owed each year to Josh Allen. I hope Lamar Jackson gets $50 million, because then the Ravens can't make other upgrades along their team because that money is going to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, if Lamar just look at Dak Prescott contract and be like, man, give me 60-60. So in 2 years, man, go on and give me $120 million. In 3 years, man, go on and give me $180 million. And I'll be cool. Y'all can play with the back end how y'all want to play with the back end. But, for the most part, give me 75 this year. If I feel like it, give me 60 the second year, and go on and give me 60 the third year. And my annual salary, y'all can play with that how y'all want to play with it. But just give me my money up front. So that's how I look at it, man. I think Dak, for the most part, had a 4-year deal, to be exact. Just had a heck of a contract, $75 million in 12 months. That's a lot of money. So a lot of guys look at the big picture and just look at the Patrick Mahomes contract. Patrick Mahomes, in so many years, is still a team-friendly contract, But if you look at what Josh Allen got, Josh Allen can hit that again twice, plus more. So, at the time, it just was a perfect contract for Patrick Mahomes, I'm sorry. But not Dak. Lamar should do the same way. He should look at how Dak did his. I think he should get more because of the type of player he is. I think his value is more value than Dak, and Dak is my dog. But I think his value more valuable than Dak at that team's position, just him in general. If you ask who you're going to take, Lamar or Dak Prescott, I think 9 out of 10 people are going to say Lamar Jackson. So that's just what it is. So he just brings a whole different dimension, not only to the game, but to your football team. And that's another thing you got to look at, man, what he's bringing to the team from a jersey standpoint and from an NFL league standpoint. Like a lot of that goes into consideration when you want to talk about a quarterback. When Lamar Jackson is playing, how does the ratings go? We ain't saying the Baltimore Ravens. We saying Lamar Jackson. When Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, he's a must-watch. For Dallas, when you look at Dallas, you just look at Dallas Cowboys because Jerry Jones is a businessman and he understands how to promote his team. When Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, it's a must-watch. So it's a lot. It's only a few guys in the league who's a must-watch, and one of them is Lamar Jackson. So it's a lot of things you got to take into consideration for this kid.
Yeah, from the marketing standpoint, Ike, and amongst the young fans in the league, the kids that play Madden and whatnot, they're more so concerned about the individual athlete than the players. And Ike, you could probably tell me better than I could with your son and his friends of, okay, you start talking about sports, Lamar Jackson has to be top 5 in the NFL of when you're talking about just exciting players to watch in the league. I'd argue he's probably top 3, but top 5, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, we saying top 5, and we ain't even talking about wide receivers or running backs. When you want to say Cheetah's probably one of them, Lamar's probably one of them, and you really, other than that, who else you really going to say, like, somebody got to take on third? Because when those two guys are playing how they should play or playing at that superstardom, man, it's just hard not to watch those guys.
And one other thing too, Ike, you mentioned front loading the contract. I think that makes particular sense with Jackson, considering he is a running quarterback. He does a nice job of avoiding big hits, unlike many of his predecessors that were running quarterbacks. But that ability is just, eventually over time, I don't think he's going to be as dynamic of a runner as he is at this point in his career while he's still young. So I think to even further prove your point of let's get a deal where front loaded, where a lot of the money is guaranteed up front, makes sense just given his particular style as a quarterback as well.
Yeah, he's special, Mark. Them guys like that don't come around. Lamar Jackson totally understand what it is, what people are saying about him, and him just being a running quarterback. He doesn't take the big hits as the older quarterbacks used to take. And I just look at the relationship between him and Coach Harbaugh. So for Coach Harbaugh to ask Lamar on a couple occasions, Mark, hey, Lamar, what you want to do? Do you want to go for it? And Lamar's like, heck yeah. With a Hall of Fame kicker and Tucker sitting over there. And because Coach could have easily said, you know what, I'm going to bring the Hall of Fame kicker and just let him get the 3. That's an easy 3 for us. But the fact that he gives Lamar the option, the fact that the coaching staff and the team love the option, the fact that Justin Tucker don't mind Lamar Jackson, going with that option says a lot about Lamar Jackson. So these kind of people don't come around too long. He's a guy who's going to say good morning to the person who works in the cafeteria and treat the same person as the CEO the same. So that's just Lamar Jackson. That's his demeanor. That's the way his teammates talk about him. His teammates said when he was out, there wasn't a lightning in the bottle in their practice for the minicamp. Once he came back, for the OTAs, once he came back to minicamp, they felt his presence. They felt the lightning in the bottle. So when he's in the building, when he's on the field, it's a sort of, okay, we have a chance when Lamar steps on that field. So that's what you can't coach. That's what you got to pay for, though.
Remember, Jackson represents himself. He does not have an agent. He's his own agent, number one. But then number two, Ike, when is the NFL going to force Justin Tucker to kick with his opposite foot? That's how dominant he is. The NFL and the league should make Justin Tucker kick lefty, because if you get it across the 50-yard line, he's probably nailing the field goal. That's how good he's been.
Money. Just between Justin Tucker and Lamar Jackson, I smell money other than that gumbo that's cooking in my mama.